we're live. Well,
Sort of.
not really live, but I would like to be live one day. What I mean by that, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Like actually,
Yeah, like a live.
yeah, like a live.
Yeah.
I would like to do.
pre-recorded.
Yes, I enjoy pre-recording, but I also would like to do.
Because you could take out the spots where you sound like an idiot.
Yeah, 100%. Because I sound like an idiot quite often.
Yeah, same.
But like it'd be more fun because then you could find out like people who actually want to watch and stuff. And if they actually sit there and watch, it's kind of cool that they're watching it in time. Mm-hmm. And then you can get feedback. Like you can look at comments and stuff on it if they leave
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it'd be kind of cool to like sit there and ask a question
Get, like,
to
user
somebody.
feedback and stuff.
Yeah, and you can ask a question and be like, "Hey, like, what do you guys think of if we start talking about the war in Ukraine or something?" And then, which I don't know why I would bring it up.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, the war of Ukraine, But like, if you bring it up, someone would be like, "I hate that war." Someone's like, "I love that war." Like, they can just decide on their own.
Yeah.
And then like stuff like this, I could take out at the end because it's like, well, I'm talking about war here, but it's two other countries, but we're also funding it. So, all right. Well, Greg, thank you so much, man.
No problem.
For coming
Happy to
out
be here.
Happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
Perfect, bud. This will be a great time. We're gonna enjoy this. So, all right. Well, yesterday, dude, working on shift, we only did just a couple of runs. It was a slow day.
Great Sunday.
It was a good Sunday, but like it was just super slow because like we barely did anything.
There was a
for
stretch in
run-wise.
the afternoon where we didn't do anything for probably like, 6-7 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to fill my time with something here.
Well,
we were like on our third movie. I'm like, okay, we got to do something. I'm losing my mind.
well, we ended up doing that workout, which was a great workout.
It was a good workout.
Dude, we did a calisthenic workout. It was just all body movement and function.
Yeah.
And that ended up being like a really solid exercise to do.
I was feeling it.
Dude.
I was definitely identified some weak spots in my groin and hip flexors and stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was just all basic. So like what we ended up doing was just basic movements for like standing up straight and then lifting your leg up 100 times and then kicking your leg like from like using your right leg, taking it across to your left leg and just working that inner thigh and then doing like rear leg raises and then like like from some abdominal stuff. And then we did the tossing the ball around back and forth. Yeah. And then that ended up being great. It was just solid working out. And it wasn't like with weights, which was nice to kind of get away from weights for a little bit. And
I still worked up a hell of a sweat.
Dude, I worked up a great sweat. So, so I wanted to chat with you about what are some good ways if you're getting a new lieutenant to kind of how would you want to have that officer come into shift?
Well, I think what we did was excellent. We just kind of sat down and had like a little expectations meeting. And he was like, I mean, I get it. I feel it because he was like, I haven't really been given my expectations talk from the battalion chief yet. So he's like, I can't really give you much more than what me as a person would want. I can respect that. I mean, not much more you can do there, but I liked being able to just have like an open conversation about like, you and I were like, this is what we expect out of you. This is kind of how we operate so far. If we need to make changes, let's talk about it. But these are our expectations for you. And then vice versa. He was able to do the same. And I mean, nothing was outlandish or over the top as far as what's expected. But I thought it was really nice. I thought it was good open conversation and something to build off of from there.
Yeah. And well, what sucks is like I haven't had a new officer in a few years. So for me, I've always had captains. Like,
yeah,
I've always had a captain as my boss, except for like the first year and a half of my career. It was with a lieutenant who was a brand new lieutenant at the time. And then I got moved over to another apparatus, and the guy was a captain. And then coming in from having just captains only to switching to a lieutenant, is a little bit different for me because it's like you have the house captain, like you have the guy who's
Yeah.
going to keep you
got
busy
the
all the
guy
time.
on your back- on your
he's
side.
yeah, he's the person at that house, and it's also really nice because then if you have like a battalion chief that's on you about everything, you could just tell him like talk to the house captain,
Just take it up with my officer.
take it up with my officer, and that guy's got enough time on it. It's just like if you're doing the wrong thing, he'll tell you.
Yeah.
But if you're like if it's someone's pet peeve, which that's another thing that really annoys me, dude, is just like people have pet peeves, and when they're your boss or they're your like battalion or something, or your chief, and you have to abide by what their peeve is, but it's not
Important.
it's important. No, not
Yeah.
important at all. Like I understand it and I'll respect it, but I don't respect it because it's just like
You
don't
respect it, but you'll talk shit about it later, you know?
yeah, first to him, and I'll let him know that I don't agree with it. That way he has the understanding that it's like, I am not cool with this. But like, there's like, I always bring it up. It's shorts. I always bring it up because it's like, we're not doctors. We're not scientists. We're not businessmen. Like we are firefighters.
And when we show up at that person's door and they're having an emergency,
Yeah.
they don't care what we're wearing.
No.
I mean, I could be in my I Carumba shirt here, and they're
Yeah,
going to be
you gotta
like,
show that
thanks,
shirt.
thanks for
Show that
showing
shirt,
up.
Ay, caramba. I love it, man.
I got this for my birthday like 6 years ago.
Dude, I still wear, like, we just talked about this yesterday. Like, I still wear clothing from 6-7 years ago. I never go shopping. Like,
I got some T-shirts for Christmas a couple years ago, and those are like the newest things in my closet.
I know that every year I get socks from my parents.
Yeah.
That's when I get socks. So, but back to what we were talking about with the pet peeves and
Yeah.
shorts and stuff and people not caring. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I understand that you got to have a level of professionalism. You want to look uniform. You want to look the part, right? But the ones like during the day, I get it. You know, put your duty shorts on or pants or whatever. But like, say we get a call in the middle of the night. Last night it was like 90 degrees. I don't want to put bunkers on. I grabbed shorts. We didn't have a run last night. I slept great.
Dude,
But like
do
I
not
grabbed
sleep
my
at all.
duty shorts so I could put them over my basketball shorts so I didn't have to wear my bunkers. I was going to take one extra step. Granted, it was going to take 6 seconds. But I was going to take that one extra step and put my duty shorts on over my basketball shorts so I didn't have to get back into my bunkers because it's freaking hot. I don't want to get all sweaty and then have to go lay back in bed.
It's an inconvenience.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world, but it's inconvenience. Another thing that I brought this up a few times, and then there's always answers to it. There's like, oh, you just go ahead and buy your EMS pants or something like that.
Right.
But my biggest inconvenience with it is we can't wear these bunker pants inside of firehouses because of carcinogens.
Right.
But yet we're okay with wearing them in every single customer's house, whether it's clean or not. Like so you're okay with
And
us.
I've had officers too that are like, I'd rather you not wear them inside stores too because
Yeah.
it's going to get on food.
It's going to get on. Okay, cool. But we're going to put them, for one, we're going to put them in the fire truck and that's the reason why, like in Florida, I think it's Miami-Dade that does this. I think that they put all their stuff in compartments in the back and they get dressed, on scene. They get dressed on scene because of the carcinogens that are inside the
That
cab.
makes me nervous.
It makes me, I understand the
I
health
get
aspect of why,
Yeah, I get
but do I agree with it? I don't know. I've heard some people say like they don't get fully dressed until they get on scene because that forces them to slow down and look at the scene and look at the house and the fire.
Yeah.
While they're putting the rest of their stuff on, and they're like, okay, cool. Now I know what I'm doing. Versus
That's a good perspective.
being fully dressed and then getting out,
Booking through a front yard.
Booking through a front yard. And I'll give you the example of why I think that's kind of a good idea. My very first fire as the ride out officer, I was already fully dressed, ready to go, except for the mask. And, I was in the truck still, but I was ready to go with everything else. And I looked right at the house. I get out. I open my door up. I'm walking away, and I'm like, we don't have a hydrant. I walked right past the hydrant because I was so focused on the house. And that's just on me that I should have taken we were also going out of district. They didn't have updated map books for anything on that, the house or that whole neighborhood or in that area, to be honest. So like,
So
I
your
couldn't
first vision of the neighborhood was actually when you pulled in.
Yeah, it's right when I pull in. So like there was no map book other than Google Maps.
Right.
That was it because nothing else was updated on it. So it's like, I missed the hydrant because I was dressed ready to go, and as we're pulling up, I'm staring at the house. What should I have done, differently? Look around. I kind of also count on my engineer to find a fucking hydrant too.
Right.
But he was looking at the house too, I guess, or looking at the street, where whoever was on the street, some probably dude was laying out there. But that's the thing is, like, I understand about that part. But yeah, if we're not allowed to wear them inside the firehouse, and there's people's preferences because of carcinogens inside of stores, why are we wearing them in people's houses? Like, there's no reason. We should be wearing them on fires. We should be wearing them on all those types of scenes that require PPE.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see the difference between EMS shorts and basketball shorts.
Right.
That's another thing for me. It's like annoying that there's people out there that are, you can wear EMS shorts on runs, but you can't wear basketball shorts.
Right.
Because they don't look good. I get it. And I've had this talk with this person already, and he and I are good with it. I just want to know if anyone else has that problem, or if anybody else has that same issue. Like, what are your guys' issues? And I do want to hear what your issues are too, if you're listening to this and you work at a fire department. Because, like, I think if we talk about this stuff, because what happens most of the time is that it gets so personal to people and they would never want to talk about it because they think it'll retaliate back onto them. But like,
Yeah.
I feel like if we discuss these stupid issues, we can actually move past it. Because, like, what's the dream of every guy or girl that want to be a firefighter? Like, you want to be there to help people.
Doing gangster shit
With my friends. Doing hood shit with my friends. But, like, we end up making it worse on ourselves because we worry more about the minute, small little policies that only we care about, that no one else cares about.
Well, and then the picking and choosing of what policy you want to care about.
100%.
Yeah.
What's an example of one you got?
How about our fitness policy? You must. It's in the SOG page on the city intranet.
Oh, it's OG, not SOG.
Sorry,
I got corrected on that one, which I was like, what? Because when I was in class, I always heard it was SOGs and SOPs.
Yeah.
And then turns out ours are like OPs and OGs.
Okay.
That was what Chris was telling me. That he's like, it's OGs and OPs. I'm like, what? So I went and looked at it. I'm like,
Okay. Going back to the pet peeve conversation.
The pet peeve conversation. Yeah.
But anyway, so it's on the OGs page.
Yeah. Original gangsters.
And yeah, I mean, there's slots that are dedicated to where we're not supposed to have any trainings, any meetings, things like that. That if that's the 1 hour you have free, that's the hour you have free. But it says we're supposed to work out, do some sort of physical activity for an hour each shift. And I would say the majority don't.
Mm-hmm. That's another thing too for me is,
but we're gonna write up an officer for working out in orange shoes because that's against policy. Got to have black shoes,
It's got to be black shoes.
He was working out
with white socks.
He was working out, in the policy that says you got to work out, but was going against another policy because he had his orange shoes on. So
you were right. There's just some things that are just so. When you stand back and look at it from a common sense standpoint, and you look at that, and you're like, we're so worried, or most people are so worried about the dumbest things that you're looking at the small, finite things when there's such a larger picture at hand that we're completely missing. And what is that larger picture? I would say your number one thing for a department should be your morale at your department.
Mm-hmm. Care for you first.
Care for your guys. And if you care for your guys, like I'll use this example that I just talked about the other day. If we had a battalion, we had a ride-out battalion because he wasn't good enough to be battalion. No.
Right.
We had a ride-out battalion that I really felt like took care of us.
Yeah.
And I felt like he would kind of bend over backwards for his guys. So what did that teach me? Well, I want to do more for him. Mm-hmm. If I knew something would make his day easier, I would try my best to do it. But if you get somebody who's going to sit there and be like, you need to do this and this and this and this, I ain't doing this for you. It's like, well, I ain't doing anything for you. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll make sure I go out of my way to not do something. Because it's like, you're not going to...
I'll get what I have to get done throughout the day, but I'm not going to go out of my way to make things easier for you.
Correct. So it's like, you want to build that relationship up with everybody. And I'm not saying that's happening now.
No.
But that's how that can come across as. And I've had that happen before with other officers and battalions and even other firemen. Like another thing too is like when you're asking guys for trades and shit, like that's one thing I hate doing because it's like you're at the whim and will at them responding back to you. Like I asked for a few guys for trades and they're like, "Oh, I'll get back to you." And they never.
Well, it's
got
almost
back.
like a burden every time you ask for
Every
a trade.
time.
It's like, but like you need that time at some point. Like I'll pay you back whenever.
Yeah.
I just need 24 hours, and it's like, yeah, well, let me think. And then 2-3 months later, they're using PTO, which is fine. Use your PTO if you got it, but. Like I like to save my PTO so I can roll over as much as I can, or keep it for the end of the year when people start getting sick and I'm able to help out. So I don't know. It's like a awkward conversation asking for trades because like I said, it's like a burden when you're asking them.
Well, I just went on this trip and I had to use all my PTO.
Yeah.
For it. When I say all my PTO, I used all PTO hours for it because like I asked 5 or 6 guys for trades. 2 of them got back to me and said no, but the other ones were just never responded or never gave me an answer or nothing. Yeah. So it was like, I just need to get this off. I already told you, but I went to Miami and then Clearwater, Dunedin, and then Nashville, Tennessee. And dude, that was a blast. Yeah. Like, I had so much fun.
Sounds like it.
It was good. Miami was cool.
What'd you do in Miami, Matt?
Oh, dude. I went to a bare knuckle fight. It was awesome, man.
A regulated bare knuckle fight.
Totally regulated. No roosters or cockfighting. Yeah. No roosters, no chickens were in this one. No, I went to a bare knuckle fighting championship fight, and that was awesome. Yeah. It was. Dude, I think everyone needs to go to that because
so it was like bare knuckle boxing.
It's bare knuckle boxing.
Like no MMA. Don't take them to the ground.
Nope.
Kicking.
Nope.
Yeah.
None of that. It was cool, dude. It was the second fight of the night. This dude got his nose split open, like right here. And the guy
showed me that one dude from Cuba, and his face is all scarred up, dude.
Oh yeah,
like you could tell he's take a few punches to the cheeks.
Dude, he's good too. He's really good. Yeah, it was cool because like it looked like at the beginning of the fight, it looked like he grabbed the other fighter and prayed with him before the fight happened. Yeah. Which I thought was awesome.
That is cool.
And then it was either at the beginning of the fight or the end of the fight. I can't remember, but they like both kneeled down and he was like praying. But there's the second fight of the night. This dude got his face. He's from Ukraine. Split his nose open and it was just pouring. Blood was just pouring off of his face. Anytime he'd get punched in the face, you'd see a mist of blood in the air. And it was just like, yes! Like it was so cool just to see that. The ring girls, bro. Yeah. They said at the beginning of the fights that they have the most beautiful ring girls in all of sports. I agree. Yeah. Holy crap. If you're listening to this and you're wanting to know, 100%, just type in BKFC on Instagram and you'll see their ring girls.
BKFC.
Dude, they walk around each round, obviously, holding up the cards and all that stuff. And they give a little wave, and it's just like, oh, she's waved at me. Oh my god, hi. I'd sit there. I had a smile on my face the entire time. Like, I had so much fun, man.
We had good seats too, didn't you?
I had great seats. Chris. I've had Chris on the podcast before, Chris Lytle, and he's the commentator for it. So I hit him up and asked him if I can go to a fight or what would be a good fight to go to. And so he told me the one in Miami. So that's the reason why I planned the Miami trip I planned the whole Miami trip around that fight. And he hooked me up with some awesome seats. I had ringside seats. And dude, like Mike Tyson's son was sitting there. Eddie Alvarez, Jorge Masvidal, a few other the BKFC fighters were sitting there. They were cool. Like they were fun to talk to. So I was getting out of I rented a car when I was down there. And I was getting out in the parking lot. And these people pulled up next to me in like these Mercedes trucks or Mercedes SUVs. Mm-hmm. And they were getting out, and the first guy starts talking, and he sounded like he was speaking like Russian. Well, come to find out they're from Ukraine. But one of the girls got out, and she was like fixing her shoe or whatever. And it was like those very, those women you could buy, like the mail order brides.
Yeah.
Like they're stunning. Like they're absolutely gorgeous. It's what she looked like. Like
Yeah.
I'd never have seen someone like that before. And I was like, holy crap. So then,
She hotter than the ring girls?
dude, there was a couple in the audience that were, I don't know whether to be looking up here or looking out in the stands. Like this is,
Which is the better show?
which is the better show, dude. There's this guy sitting in front of me. I don't know the relationship he had with these two girls, but they were obviously like early 20s.
Yeah.
And he was in his 50s, and one of them was enhanced in multiple areas of her body, and the other one was just, there. But he had both of them sitting right next to him. I'm like, this dude is dating both of these young chicks. There's no way that he's not. And like he spent his time like grabbing drinks for him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have been his daughters. I have no idea, but
Right.
it did not look like that. But the way people dress down there is completely different.
Yeah.
Like, it was very different for me to see like everyone wearing a thong bikini. Like, very different for me. And like I was telling you, like I think that when you have a baby down there, that the same hospital that gives them the birth certificate also gives them like a discount for a BBL later on in their life, because every person down there, every girl down there had like a BBL.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what a BBL is, it's a Brazilian butt lift where they just, I don't know if it's an injection. I don't know if it's implants. I don't know what it is. I guess I could look it up while we're talking.
Some kind of
It is,
cosmetic surgery to
yeah, BBL.
lift a booty.
It's a surgery where doctors transfer fat from your belly, hips, lower back, and thighs to your butt.
Oh,
And it was like every girl down there had one. I went to the Dollar General, and the girl working at the Dollar General had it.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, it's got to be, it's not in the water for sure, but it's got to be like a discount that they get, because it was everywhere you went. But I mean, Miami was cool, but nobody there was nice. There was no one there that, yeah, nobody there wanted to talk. They did not care. The beach was cool. I went to Mid Beach. I went to Miami Mid Beach, and then I went to South Beach. I ate at this place called Bella Cubana. Got some good food there, and then drove around a bunch. Found a little sand dune area and I rented a Jeep Gladiator and took the Jeep Gladiator out into it and just like floored it. Had some fun. Put it in sand mode.
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, sand wasn't deep, but it was like, at least there was something I could spin up.
Right.
And then when I drove to Clearwater, it was about a 4.5 hour drive. And that was, but in Miami, it was cool. But I didn't know the Jewish community was as much there. Like, there was a ton of Jewish people. Like, there was a Jewish, it seemed like it was like a whole Jewish corner in Miami. Like, it was all Jewish schools, Jewish businesses.
Well, I mean, that's how a lot of large cities like Chicago and New York, and I'm assuming LA. I've never been there, but you have like the different ethnicities have like their own like blocks, like Chinatown and Little Italy and things like that. So I would imagine. I mean, Miami's a pretty big city. I would imagine they have something pretty similar to that.
It had to have been, but it was cool because like seeing the Jewish people around wearing I think they're called yarmulkes.
Yeah.
The things on their heads, the yarmulkes with their hair curled right here. That was kind of cool to see. Just different cultures was cool to see, man. Like a lot of Cubans down there, obviously, and the Cuban food's really good.
Oh yeah, I love Cuban food.
I met some people from Canada down in Miami. They were from, everyone I met from Canada when I was down in Florida or Tennessee were from Toronto. And then I realized that all of Canada is huge, right? It's really big. But 90% of people that live in Canada all live in a similar fault line in South.
Yeah.
And it's like
They're
all
on the south side of Canada.
the very south side of Canada, because the rest is unlivable. So, or there's just no reason to live out there.
Forests and snow and shit like that.
It's just pointless to live up there.
Yeah.
But it was cool to meet those guys from Canada, meet some people from Canada. And then when I went to Dunedin, I was there for like a day and a half. And I was there for my friend Tasha moved down there. So that was right when she moved down. I was going to go down and help her move some stuff in. And then they got a lot of the stuff moved in. And it was just all small things. So we ended up we went to Honeymoon Island all together, and that's when my feet got all cut up out in the coral. Dude, that coral is nasty. Coral! Like that coral is nasty. And then like everybody you watched like out in the water, they were trying to like go further out into the ocean, but like they had to walk on
the coral,
on the rock and coral, and like people were falling down, and like they were like tripping over it. Like my feet were cut up, like they were bleeding.
It's sharp. It's amazing how sharp it is.
It was unbelievable. And then I saw a dolphin really up close, and that was the story I was telling you yesterday.
Yeah.
So I'm standing out in the water. It's about between mid thigh and waist deep, and I see a fin come up, and it's about 30 yards out. I see a fin come up, and I'm like, oh, I'm not from around the area, so like I've only
not used to much marine life.
Yeah, I'm not used to seeing that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, is that a dolphin? I hope it's a dolphin. I'm looking around, no one else is freaking out, and I hear someone say, "Oh, a dolphin!" I'm like, okay, cool. Like they think it's a dolphin. I see the fin come back up again, and it's wild to see a fin. Out in the ocean. It's out in the water, like in its habitat, like an actual animal, a big one. So it comes up and it's doing its thing, and then it starts spinning around. And I'm like, these people are tourists. I'm a tourist. What if it's not a dolphin? And then it starts swimming around real fast, and those things are fast. And he swims directly towards me. I had a feeling in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, what if this is a shark and I'm about to get fucking eaten? And I'm stupid enough just to stand here and be like, look at the dolphin. Like, so like, dude, I ended up just like kind of just freezing for a second. I was like, is it a dolphin? Is it a shark? I have no clue. Well, he's swimming super fast towards me, then immediately stops 10 feet from me, does a 360, and then darts off to another direction. And when he darted off, dude, it was so fast. I was very impressed. And then I'm like, okay, that is a dolphin.
Yeah.
So one of Tasha's friends was down there, and she was like trying to swim after the dolphin to sort of like touch him.
Yeah.
And he got like a foot from her, like was swimming around and got like a foot, and it was cool. It was really cool to see. And then Nashville, I was down when I was down in Dunedin. That that hurricane was coming.
Water tornado.
It was a water tornado,
which I guess is a real thing. So it's not a water tornado.
But then I got kicked out of my hotel because of the hurricane coming. So I just decided to go back home, and I got really lucky with a flight. Went back home and then decided to go to Nashville. So I drove down to Nashville, and dude, that was a blast. Yeah. I've never been to Nashville, Tennessee before.
I like Nashville a lot.
Dude, it was awesome. I had so much fun, and doing solo trips was cool because it kind of, you could choose however long you want to stay somewhere. And you don't have to convince, like if you take your wife, you don't have to convince your wife to go do anything.
Right.
Which is nice, because when I was married, I had to convince her to go do stuff. I'm like, hey, let's go do this. Let's go do this. And if I'm tired of being there and she's not, I'm like, you want to get out of here? Like, no, I want to enjoy this. All right. And you just sit there and you're not enjoying anything.
Right.
But being on like a solo trip, if I got tired at the beach, I just packed my stuff up and walked away. It was so nice. Yeah. And then, but when I was in Nashville, dude, people were amazed that I was traveling by myself.
Really?
They were amazed. Dude, yeah. Did I not tell you about this? Mm-mm. So like people would ask me like, well, who are you with? And I'm like, by myself. And they're like, you're by yourself? Like you travel? I'm like, yeah, I'm in the United States. I could travel by myself. Like, it's not like I'm an
adult. I could do these things now.
I'm an adult in the United States. I'm not really
not a little kid with a $20 bill pinned to my collar anymore. With a little note that says, return to Aunt Tammy.
Return to Aunt Tammy. But yeah, like it was like, I encourage anybody who's obviously single, like I encourage you to go out and go tour. Like, be a tourist. Even in your own city, be a tourist. Like, go walk around and start talking to people, because that's what I ended up doing. I just started walking around. Like, I met some people from Toronto, Canada. I'm walking out of my hotel, and there's these two guys that were on a business trip. They work for a trailer company, and they supply parts for trailers. So they were there for a convention. So they were leaving the next day. And I was walking out of my hotel, and I just started asking them questions like, "Where's some good places to go eat?" And they're like, "Why don't you just end up like we chatted for a little bit?" And then he's like, "Why don't you just come like hang out with us, and we'll go grab dinner, and then we'll go out and show you a couple of the bars to go to." So I ended up hanging out with them, and dude, I had a blast hanging out with them. Like it was so much fun. But the bars were cool, and a lot of bachelorette parties.
Yeah.
A lot of bachelorette parties.
I think it was like coined like the bachelorette party capital or whatever.
Dude, it's got to be, because it was just everywhere.
The cool thing about the place is like it's Nashville, so like majority of people are there to try and like make it big. They're trying to get the record labels and start their music careers. So like, I mean, I've only been there 3 times, so it's not like I'm a avid Nashville person, but every time I've been, it's like there's not a bad band, there's not a bad bar, because every band is just killing it. And then they, like what you were talking about, how they were all like walking on the tables and walking along the bar, like they all just act like rock stars, and it's so much fun. Like what an environment to be in, and it's not just like tried and true where they're just playing on their stage or whatever. Like they're owning that crowd.
Yes,
and
they're performing.
It makes it fun,
dude. Even if like, so one of the guys that was there, he was singing at Tootsie's, and he said that he's never sang the song that he did because someone requested it, and you could pay to request songs. Like,
okay,
depending on what song it is, like it's $20. And you can refer a song, but if it's like a harder song, they'll say it's $100 song. It's just a way for them to get more money. Like that's all it is. And they were saying they only get paid tips, which was kind of blew my mind. That I'm like, so the business doesn't split profits. Because if the band is really good, people are going to want to stay.
Right.
And they're going to want to keep drinking. Yep. So they're going to keep ordering drinks. And drinks there are not cheap. They're like $15 for one drink. So I would have thought that they would have had some deal worked out to where they're like, hey, we will get, 5% of profits for the 4 hours that we play. And I don't think, it doesn't seem like it works out that way. They just make tips only. So they have this big 5-gallon bucket. Like every band had a 5-gallon bucket walking around with like, put some money in it. Like, and I felt like obliged. I'm like, I did enjoy it, so I'll throw some money in it. And
that's got to be a hard gig, like in the the time we're in, where like money is digital mostly. I mean, it's pretty rare that people.
Well, they had Venmo too.
Oh, okay.
And they had it, and they had it like their card.
Maybe.
Delilah hopped up there. Oh, thanks for hitting Lila, you're hitting the camera.
Get your tail out of here.
That dog's awesome, man. No, I need to get like a Delilah cam or something. Just have it on her while we're just sitting here talking.
Have it like on her head, facing out, so like you see what she sees.
Yeah. Well, have you seen what people have been doing with like they'll put a little GoPro camera on a toy and then have their dog carry the toy off?
Yeah, that's hilarious.
But they'll have like a little code that you can scan it with your phone. Lila, come here, baby. Come on. Oh, she's like, no, I'm enjoying this. But you can get like a little VR code that you could scan it. But there were some bands that played, dude, that were incredible. One girl was walking all over the bar tops and tabletops. Dude, she was doing awesome. She's trying to climb all the way up there. Just give her a shove if you don't want her up there.
She's all right.
But it was so much fun, dude. And the dude that played that one song, it was a Guns N' Roses song. And that had the entire place rocking.
Yeah.
Like, I had so much fun, dude. Had so much fun. And then...
I like majority of the bars are like multi-level, too.
Yeah.
If it's not the same bar on the second floor, it's another bar up on the second. Yeah. That's cool. Like, you don't have to go far to get to a different place to see a different band.
Yeah, you literally just walk upstairs to the next one. And then
for my bachelor party, me and one of my buddies, we like snuck away from the crowd because they were getting super drunk and annoying. And I was like, dude, let's find a different bar. So we go into one. We were like, dude, this band's great. And he was like, I'll get you a beer. What do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And we go to tab out, and she was like, oh, it's a $20 minimum. And it was like $2 beer night. And we're like, oh.
That's a lot.
We have a lot to go through. So we ended up just buying for the table next to us. We bought all their next beers, and we were like, all right, let's get out of here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I had people were buying me drinks when they found out I was by myself.
Yeah.
And that was fun because they're at like I'd sit there next to somebody. I'm like, "Where are you from?" And they're like, "Idaho," and I'm like, "Cool, man. Like, what's out there?" And they asked me where I'm from. They're like, "Cool, man. What's in Indiana?" And I'm
Right.
like, "A lot of cool stuff." But they'd want you to hang out with them for a bit because everyone's there to have a good time.
Right.
And dude, it was cool because obviously like it, you be like being a man, like women never say anything to you. Like women don't normally approach.
Right.
So what was nice about Nashville is that women would approach. And that was cool because it's like they're there to have a good time. They're just wanting to probably talk to somebody real quick, maybe flirt a little bit and then get out.
Right.
So like one lady came out to me. I was wearing this. So the night before, I was walking over to get a hot dog in Nashville, and I ordered this hot dog because I was feeling pretty good. So I was like, I need to get some food in me. And there's like it was like 1 a.m, so like all the food was closed, or the kitchens were closed. So I found this hot dog stand, and the guy jipped me out of like the hot dog was $8. Like it's an expensive hot dog.
Damn.
So I gave him a 20, and he gave me $2 back. And I was like, I gave you a 20. He goes, no, you gave me 10. You gave me 10. And he was like from,
Yeah, he was trying to screw you, man.
oh, dude, he did. And I was like, no, I can't remember, like Afghanistan or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was screwing me over. And I'm like, dude, I know what I gave you. I have all $20 bills. I don't have any $10 bills. I gave you a $20 bill. Give me $12 back. And he's like, no, you give me a 10. And he's showing me a 10. And I'm like, dude, come on.
It's
And
your 10.
that was someone else's 10. So I ended up standing there and I just took a water and I'm like, I'm taking this water too. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, okay, I got you. Like, I know you wouldn't have been cool with that.
Yep.
So I took a water with me and I'm walking back. And as I'm walking back, people were like, where's the food at? And I'm like, if you go to that guy, make sure you show him the bill you're going to give him. And then be like, this is what I want back. And then you hand it to him and hopefully he won't screw you. Well, this girl, like looked at me and she's like, it was cool because I've never had this experience before. And she's like, I want your number. And I'm like, oh. Then I realized, oh, she's drunk. So like, she's just, she doesn't mean it. So like, yeah, obviously I gave her my number because it's like, that's the first time this girl's ever asked for my number in person. Like never had that happen before. So I was like, yeah, sure thing. And then like, obviously like nothing ever came of it, but it was just still cool to like have that happen. And then her friend put this pink cowgirl hat on my head and it lit up. And then their Uber arrived and then they just left. So I kept the hat. So I'm walking around with this pink cowgirl hat on with the lights up. So like people were coming up to me, like telling me how much they love the hat. Like girls were trying to ask, like, where'd you find that hat at? I'm like, some girl put it on my head. And they're like, of course. Like, it's fun. And then, so I was wearing the hat the next night and this lady comes up to me and she's like, she just automatically just starts touching the hat, like just start like messing with the strings on it. And she's like, you got a nice jawline. It's like touching my face. And I was like, this has never happened to me before. And it was so interesting. Like I couldn't imagine.
So you got that liquid courage flowing. You're willing to do just about anything.
Yeah. So I'm just like, you know what? This is nice. Like I enjoy this. Cause like now for one, the stress is not on me trying to go up to approach. Right. And I've always hated that. I've always hated going up and having to approach because it's like most of the time, almost all the time, it's like I know they're not interested. But if you're good looking enough, they won't care. Like there's this dude on have you seen this dude on TikTok that goes up to women and just asks for their number? Mm-hmm. Like he just goes up and hits on them, and almost every single time from every video I've seen, every single time he gets the girl's number. Mm-mm. Dude, the dude's name is like something Shapiro. It's not Ben Shapiro because there ain't no way that he's married, but two. I'll find it. This dude, I started following him recently here on TikTok, but he never misses. Like he never misses.
That he shows.
I mean, that's true. His name's Steven Shapiro. He's on TikTok. And dude, there's this one girl that he met. Her name's Olivia, and everyone fell in love with her. Like on TikTok. So every other video he's posted, everyone in the comments is like, where's Olivia? We want Olivia. And dude, she was so into him. Like I'll show it real quick because, oh dude, Jeremy Sanders just texted me. That's cool. So,
I'm like super lost.
so this is it right here.
What do you need help with? I'm looking for your number.
Okay.
Okay. Are you feeling what I'm feeling?
What are you feeling?
I'm feeling you.
I mean, I guess.
What's your name?
I'm Olivia.
I'm Steven.
Nice to meet you, Steven.
I'm feeling it. I'm sorry. Alright, love you. Bye.
Oh, dang. Little stranger kiss.
Olivia.
So like,
Excuse me?
so everybody in the comments now is like,
Olivia.
we want Olivia, bring her back. Where is she? Because it's like that dude just goes up to every, like, you know, any girl he's, you know, that's attractive and just like hits on her real quick, gets her number, then walks away.
Yeah.
So like having that type of confidence for one, but also it helps if you're really attractive. Like that dude is a good looking dude. He's like 6'4".
He had a hood on.
Well, yeah, that too. But one girl was like, I like your mustache. I didn't grow this because of that, but it's like I grew this because I already had facial hair growing, so I shaved it. I was like, I wonder if I can rock a mustache with a little goatee with it. But yeah, so stuff like that. Oh, can you even see it? Here, I'll get a little bit closer. Oh yeah, baby.
Coming in thick.
It's real thick. What sucks having blonde hair is that you can't see my facial hair. But like it grows in red everywhere else. Black here, and then red everywhere. Like my neck, my beard part, my chin.
That's what's funny about blondes. They get
Dude,
red beards.
it's stupid. Like
I don't get it.
I don't know. I wish that I could grow in like a darker hair. Because there's some people I've seen, like there's guys out there that have the real, like you have real dark hair. So like I'll pan it over to you. So like, you got real dark hair. So like when you grow facial hair, it looks cool
Yeah.
because there's
When you
such
can see it automatically.
when you can see it.
Yeah.
But like for me, it doesn't look cool. So it's just like
Like you could get away with stubble and people would be like, "Oh, he's clean shaven."
yeah.
That's because it's blonde.
It's blonde. Like even my arm hair is white.
Yeah.
So like when I grow out my hair, it's not like it's not a desired color that
Right.
people want. It's not like I want a guy with white hair. Like I want him looking like Casper. Like no one wants that. Like no one wants my albino colored hair. So like, and nothing against albinos. I've never met one in person. Dude, I saw midgets when I was in Nashville. I've never seen one in person.
What?
Never seen one in person up close.
You're
Always from-
lying.
I swear.
How have you never seen a midget?
Dude, I'm telling you, I've never seen a midget up close. Like I've always wanted to meet one because I think they're the what, dude? What's wrong with that? Like, dude, I think they're the coolest. Like, I don't know. I love people that are not normal to what everybody else is. Like,
Yeah.
super tall people, I'm super interested in them because it's like you're tall. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's tall. Like, what's it like? Like, I know I'm gonna ask the dumbest questions.
Yeah.
Like, what's it like, man, being that tall? Man, it sucks buying clothes, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this dude was 6'10". He was the guy that I showed
bouncer
you-
dude?
the bouncer.
Yeah.
At Coyote Ugly, and I'm walking up, and the dude was a real big. He was larger. He was he's overweight, but he was a larger dude. And I was going up to him. I was messing with him or saying something to him, like kind of just like pretend like I'm gonna fight him or something like
Yeah.
that. Just being stupid because it's like he's a big dude. And like I'm kind of an idiot, so like I'm just like, "What's up, man? What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, you ain't gonna cause no problems, Hollywood boy." And I'm like, he stands up and he's going up and up. And I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like the dude was 6'10" and he was super cool. So I like wrapped him up and I'm like shaking him around. He's fucking shaking me, and I was like, and that's cool because it's like those are fun experiences.
Yeah.
Like just being able to like, you know,
Cut loose and
cut
relax
loose
a
and
little
have
bit.
some fun, and other people are cool with it too. And but yeah, so I saw these two guys that were. I feel like calling them little people's rude.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's
What's
rude.
the proper vernacular?
I really don't know.
Midget?
But I never met one to ask.
Little
like,
person?
I want to ask, like, hey, what would you prefer? Like, do you want to be called little person? Do you want to be called a midget? Like, I feel like little person sounds like child.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh no, it's a little person. Well, that's a child. So like,
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
midget. I don't want to call him dwarf because that sounds bad. Like that
Well,
sounds.
I think
really
that's actually
bad.
a classification.
I think it is a classification, but like, I don't want to call him that because it's like that sounds
Like
rude.
dwarfism and
It is dwarfism, but I'm not going to be like, hey, what's up, dwarf? Like that's rude. You know.
I mean, yeah, in that context.
but like.
You don't go up to a black guy and be like, "What's up, black?"
Yeah, you don't do that. No. So I guess that's true. Like I'd have to find out his name, but like I feel like it would be so rude to be like, no, he's a dwarf, like because it's like that's a fairy tale creature. Like that's what
Right.
that sounds like.
Yeah, true.
Because like every time I watch like anything on Lord of the Rings or like
Yeah.
you have like he's a dwarf and then elves. Like I'm not gonna go up to like a really white guy. Like, what's up, elf? Like
What up, elf?
so. But these two guys were walking, and I'm like, oh, I want to meet them because they just looked cool. Like for one, they were really well dressed, and I was like, that's cool. Because like people, whenever anybody dresses really well, like I think it's like, well, for one, like you're wearing a suit or you're wearing like a really nice shirt and really nice pants. It's like, dude, I want to talk to that guy because he's like, he looks cool. I don't dress cool. Like obviously I'm wearing, I'd flex, but I'd rip this shirt, or I like this shirt. That's kind of dumb. But like, they were walking, but then as I walked out one bar, there was this girl that was a midget. Bro.
She's hot.
Bro. Wow. Like, so I come walking out. I remember I looked and I was like, oh, like, my Lord. And I wanted to go say hi to her, just be like, how's it going? Like, and then just walk away, but I didn't do anything at all. I just kept walking. I was like, man, I don't know what to say. Like, I know I'll sound stupid because whatever, like I go up to somebody and there's obviously something, like there's a guy I met with, he had one hand, his left. I wanted to go shake his hand. Well, I'm like, the inner monologue of Matt knows that this guy doesn't have a right hand. Do not put your hand out and say, oh, like that. So like, what did I do? I did exactly that. Like I put my hand out, I was like, ooh. And he's like, I get it all the time, man. I was like, okay, thank God. Like, do I shake the nub or something? Like I've always wanted to.
I shake the nub?
So like ever since then, I'm like, oh dude, how funny would it be if I go up to somebody that doesn't have a hand and I grab their nub like it's a stick shift and I just go like that.
Like, the right person, you would get a laugh.
My luck, the dude would, give me a left-handed punch right to the face, right to the face. So like, but Nashville was a ton of fun, dude. Got to see a lot of cool, like there's a lot of cool people down there. Everyone there was one out. Dude, she's shedding right now. I got to get her sent to a, I tried calling.
He's sending you away.
No, I would never. Dude, she's so sweet.
No.
Lila.
You said, watch the cameras.
there's a earthquake. But like I was when I was down there, dude, that's my favorite when she shakes and her cheeks all smack. That's my favorite. So before I left, I was like, I want to get her groomed. So I figured I could call a place real quick and be like, hey, can I bring her in and get her groomed? Oh, we don't have any openings until like end of September.
That's how everything is.
It's like, how do you not have openings?
Yeah.
That was what kind of blew my mind. It's like there's not like an opening you have today. I mean, even tomorrow, like nothing. We don't have anything. I'm like, so, but I want to take her groomed and give her like a spa day. I want someone to paint her nails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I think it'd be kind of funny. Like,
Yeah.
she's a dog for one. She doesn't get her nails painted, but like, I mean, it's kind of
Full on pamper day.
Yeah, like she just sits there and lays there, and they just like pamper her, like they massage her and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think that'd be kind of fun. But
I'm sure
yeah,
she'd love it.
The midgets was cool to see. But yeah, dude, it was a blast down there. I do want to end up going back down again. I tell you what, the Drury Inn Hotel is like the place to stay.
Nice place. Huh?
It's really nice. It's a few years old. And the best part about it was the parking was cheaper than everywhere else. It's like $35 a day for parking.
You had to pay to park at the hotel?
Yeah.
That's so dumb.
Dude, it's dumb. Dude, you got to pay for everything down there. Everything. Nothing's free. I wish it was free. No, I'm kidding. But like they capitalize on every opportunity.
I think Tennessee's a no income tax.
It's no
state,
income tax.
So they're making it up elsewhere.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely make it up elsewhere. But the nice part about the Drury Inn, obviously there's free breakfast, but there's also free dinner. It's kind of like, yeah, it's like, it is like you can use it as a dinner. So it's like from 5:30 to 7 or 7:30. You can get free dinner. And also you get 3 free drinks, alcoholic drinks.
No kidding.
Yeah. So like you have this little card that you walk up with, and
that's nice.
They mark on the card and they give you 3 drinks. So like you can go pregame there and then head out. So you're already 3.
God bless.
You're already 3 drinks in before you even leave the hotel. Right. And it's part of the cost for your stay there. And it was actually a decently priced stay.
Yeah.
So I'll end up going back there again. And their pool was nice too. They had like an indoor-outdoor pool. Oh. That was cool. And they had a hot tub there. And everybody that was there was wanting to like hang out and party and talk to you.
Yeah.
They had a little gym that was actually a decent gym. It just the weights went up to 45 pounds, which was kind of a joke.
Yeah. It's a hotel gym.
It's a hotel gym. Dude, there needs to be a hotel gym that has like legit equipment.
Yeah, but how many people are going on their trips and being like, I got to hit me a hard workout? I mean, there are people that do it, but if there's 500 rooms in this hotel, 16 people are going to be doing it.
That is pretty true. That is accurate. That is pretty accurate. I just think that it would be, I just think it'd be more beneficial for me, for one, to be able to go to a gym that has, or a hotel that has like a really good gym, because you can get a good lift in.
Dude, you got the thing through Anthem. You should have hit up whatever was available.
Dude, by the way, if you have Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield, contact them or at least log in online. And dude, you can end up paying $25 a month and you get gym memberships from all over.
28.
28? Oh, it's 28 bucks a month? I'm the one that got it. I already forgot. Yeah, it's 28 bucks a month.
28 a month.
And you get gym memberships from like all, and they're not like, some of them are pretty big franchise gyms. Like there's LA Fitness and Vasa, but like, I guess, was it Peak Fitness is it one of the new ones that's coming in for it?
They were talking about Crunch.
Crunch. That's what it was. Crunch Fitness. But there's a bunch of like little gyms.
Well, and then there was like
Pilates studios, yeah.
Yoga studios. It wasn't like just like weights gym. It was any type of really fitness oriented type of thing. And then you could also, I didn't really understand how it worked, but like you could use the amenities that were with it. Like one of those Pilates studios got like massages and other shit like that. So I don't know if that was included in that 28 or if that's just something that they have available. But I thought that was really cool because it gave you like a map, and then it had all like the pins dropped all around the city on the participating gyms. And so you can click on it and it says, here's what we have available. It's weights, free weights, machines, cardio, free room, yoga studio, whatever that little, whatever you want to call that room, utility room. And then like one of that Pilates studios was like, we offer massages and dry needling and had all kinds of like different shit outside of whatever that fitness program was. So yeah, I don't know if that was included in that 28 a month or if that was something that you pay extra for, or maybe at a discounted rate.
I think it'd be more of a discounted rate. But like whenever you go to the gym, from what I was reading, whenever you go to the gym, you still have to fill out their flyer, or you have to fill out their
waiver form or whatever.
Their waiver forms. Yeah. So like that'll be something. If you end up going to like 5 different gyms a week, before you go in, for the first time you go in, you got to fill out their waiver, which is whatever. But I debated on doing that, but like I didn't want to find a place to park to pay for parking, because like I bet you that they have parking you have to pay for to even get into the gym. So you end up spending so much more money. But a lot of places there you could walk to. Yeah. So like you can end up spending your time walking. But that's what I ended up doing. I just walked everywhere when I was down there.
You were pretty close to Broadway, weren't you?
Yeah. And that's why I liked the Drury, because it was only a 5-minute walk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That was.
We stayed when Katie and I went. We stayed on Vanderbilt's campus. We stayed in like these apartments. Did an Airbnb on Vanderbilt's campus. So it was a bit of a walk, maybe 10, 15 minutes. But dude, it was kind of nice. There was a like a Nashville hot chicken place on the way, so we'd like go grab something on the way back.
That's cool.
Go grab something real quick, and then like head to the strip. While we were walking, we'd eat, and then get to wherever we wanted to go and go bar hop and whatever we wanted there. But yeah, it was kind of odd because it was so. I think it would have been the west side of the city had that bridge that went over the highway, like on Broadway. So you crossed that bridge and then went maybe a quarter mile more, and then it was probably another quarter mile, I believe, south. And that's where our apartment was. So I mean, it was definitely close enough to walk to, but you got kind of tired.
Oh yeah, like I got exhausted. Like I went to go meet someone for lunch.
Yeah.
And dude, I had to walk 20 minutes to go meet them for lunch. And that's what sucked, because it's like, and there's construction happening too. I could have Ubered, but like I was already spending so much. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $10 to go just Uber when I can.
It probably
just
would
walk.
have been more than that.
It probably
Uber costs have gone up so much.
Dude, what I should have done is there was one of those bachelorette tractors or whatever.
Yeah.
The front of the tractor said I got plowed. Let me try this is have to work right here. But the front of the tractor said I got plowed, and then all these girls were in the back like dancing and having a great time.
Oh my gosh!
And one of the girls was like, "Come on!" And I'm like,
"Should have hitched a ride."
But I should have hitched a ride, because they kept going the same way I was going, and I was like, "Oh, I should have jumped on there at least for the ride." And that would have been fun.
This is my stop. I'll see you later.
All right, just fall out of it. Dude, it was a wild time. The music was great. People were great. I highly recommend it. And it's just everyone there was friendly. And that was the cool part. But yeah,
Well, it's because it's people from all over the place, and they're coming there to all have fun.
yeah,
Like, it's not like you're just going to downtown Indianapolis. Like, you're coming from a distance of some sort, no matter how far or near. Like what you said, it was about 4 hours for you.
4.5.
And then obviously there's people from Toronto, New York City.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people are coming from a distance. They're just coming there to enjoy. So, majority of the time, I feel when people are in those type of situations where you're coming from out of town and just kind of cut loose, you're a little bit more open to talk to other people and kind of let your guard down a little bit.
Dude, I was sitting there thinking, because obviously, like now, like I'll look it up right now for the study of it, but there's a study done about, and this is why I recommend like a lot of single guys go out and do this kind of stuff, like go out and tour, go have fun, like go on solo trips, definitely go to Nashville. But like 60% of single men, 60% of single men like are, what was it? Studies on single men. I'm looking it up on Google. Yeah, so more than 60% of young men are single, which is nearly twice the rate of unattached women, young women, signaling a larger breakdown in the social, romantic, and sexual life of the American male. Men in their 20s are more likely than women in their 20s to be romantically uninvolved or sexually dormant, friendless, and lonely.
Interesting.
Dude, that's wild.
60%.
60% of men. So think about this. I'm 30. You're 31, right? All the guys in their 20s, 60% of those dudes have nobody.
Right.
On average, women in their 20s have a higher rate of being romantically interested or with somebody, and obviously sexually active. So who are they dating?
40% of guys.
No. If more women are dating a lesser pool of man in their age range, either they're dating the same dudes
That's what I'm saying.
or they're all dating like 30 and
80%
40
or whatever of women are dating the 40% of men. And I think there's slightly more men than women in the U.S., but I think it's pretty even. So yeah, they're dating the same people.
Yeah. So these guys, and that's the other thing too, is like the top few percentile of men are getting the attraction of a lot of women. So like you look at what a woman wants. Like on average, this is a generality of on average. It's not per person, because that's something that like every time I've chatted to somebody about this, especially if they're a woman, they're like, well, that's not what I want. I'm like, I'm not talking about what you want. I'm talking about on average what most women want.
General woman.
As a dude is over 6 feet tall, making six figures, and is gorgeous. So like,
Which we talked about this not too long ago, and we Googled the percentage of people, and it was like less than 1%.
yes,
It was like 0.04% are like over 6 feet making six figures.
yes.
That's insane.
So all these women are going after the same guy, and that dude is one lucky son of a bitch, because he's just like, I got women coming to me left and right. So like, for me, I'm not disclaiming what I make. I'm not disclaiming. I mean, my height, 5'11" and 3/4, but if I'm wearing nice shoes, I'm 6 foot tall. But like for me, like I used to be 6'1". So when I was 6'1", it's not like I was, talking to more women. It was just like I was 6'1".
Right.
And I was skinnier, but then I had back surgery, and my disc deflated and all that stuff, and now I'm 5'11" 3/4. But being single in the dating game now, like women will put like on their dating profiles, they have like filters that you could put in. Women go in on their filters and change it to like 6 feet and above. He's got to have this. Oh yeah, you have to have this education. You have to have this. This has to be your body type. This has to be this. Like always breaking it
That's
down.
so shallow, dude.
Well, it's yes and no. It is their preference. Like it's that woman's preference for
Sure,
that. But is she worth that?
Well, not only that, but she could be missing out on that dream person that she's trying to find.
Yeah, the short king.
That's 5'10".
Yes, or
Like
5'5".
It could literally be every single thing on that list except for over 6 foot, and she's immediately going to pass him up.
Just because of his height.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That's wild to me.
It's wild to me to think about that, because it's such if the whole generality of what is women in that same age range is going after the same dude, do you want that? Like, do you want a guy that everyone's going after? Like, do I want the woman that everyone's going after? Because for one, what does that do? That leaves her with options all the time. So then what separates you from everybody else? That's why like working on yourself is more important, obviously. But like what I would say to those young guys who are still single and friendless and lonely, like, dude, there's groups out there. For one, there's True Gentlemen. Like,
That's right.
The True TG. Like, there's True Gentlemen out there, which I've been trying to promote a little bit more recently. I've been trying to, like, when I'm out and about, I'll tell people about it. But like, that's a group for guys, men only, because I don't need to go the reason why I started the group, but it's a group for men to come together to create more of a camaraderie with like-minded people and men, like just men who, like, it's all age ranges. So there's guys that are in their, you know, early 20s to guys in their 50s and 60s that all will come together. There's different classifications of men that are in it. There's guys who are like me, who are just like, I feel like I'm an idiot. Like, I want to learn more. Like, please feed me this information. And there's guys like Jason Godwise that are in it. Yeah. Like, the dude is insanely smart, like incredibly smart. And he's able to like have conversations with us. And it's putting men in situations where they most likely normally won't be in. Like, I enjoy that aspect.
I liked that first meeting that we had. Well, the first meeting that I went to. We just kind of went around the room and introduced each other, and then kind of what our expectation of the group was. Like, what are we trying to get out of it? And, you know, a lot of people are like, I just want to get to know more people, become more active in the community, blah, blah, blah. But there were several people, like, I think it was Jason, that was like, I'm a pretty socially awkward guy. I'm trying to push my comfort zone and meet people, like, in public settings. And I'm like, well, this is a way to do it.
100%.
I mean, it's a controlled public setting, but
well, that's
like, way to work on yourself, dude. That's awesome.
That's the important part, is a controlled public setting, because if you put guys, what happens when you put a bunch of guys together with type A personalities? Everyone's going to be at each other's throats. It's going to be, I'm better at this. It's me. It's this. Like, I'm, you know, oh, you went skydiving. Well, I go cliff diving. Like, I go cliff jumping. It's like, it's not about that, man. It's about like encouraging everybody else. Like, one thing I've been trying to do, and one of my buddies, he did this really well for me, was, I mean, he has an amazing life. He's got amazing kids. His wife's amazing. His lifestyle that he has, it's Dave. The dude's awesome. But like, he encourages all of his buddies. He makes you feel like you're the coolest guy when you're with him. Yeah. And that's awesome.
Absolutely.
Like, that's what I want to do for other people. Like, so whenever, like, so like, if you're talking to somebody, like, this goes to like the firemen and the cops out there and ambulance people,
ambulance drivers.
No, I'm kidding. You guys are important too. But any career that you're in, if you're talking to somebody and they think that your career is way cooler, try to think about how their career affects people in their lives, because they don't see it and they don't hear it. Right. Like, we hear it all the time, dude. Like, we're so blessed with what we do. Like, just like yesterday, a dude stop by and give us free snow cones.
Circle City Snowy.
Circle City Snowy, bro.
Hit him up.
He's a G. But
Jeff at Circle City Snowy.
He's my man, dude.
He is my man.
I had that tiger's blood in me.
He said, we were like, oh, we'll go in and grab our wall. He's like, no, I got you. He's like, are you sure? He was like, it's just ice. I was like, yeah, good point.
Are you sure you're not going to run out? But like, when you're talking to somebody and they're like, dude, a fireman job, like being a fireman, that's got to be so rewarding. That's got to be so cool. You're so like, man, you guys are awesome. It's like, we hear it all the time. Like, it's the coolest job in the world.
It is very rewarding.
It is a very rewarding job. But if you sit
like
there,
idiots,
we will get to that in a second, dude. But like, if you sit there and the most important thing is to make that person feel special, ask them what they do. Yeah. Like, these dudes from Canada, they asked me what I did for a living. I was like, I'm a firefighter. And they just kept going on and on and on about it. I'm like, what do you guys do? And they're like, oh, well, we supply parts for trailers. And I'm like, that job is very important. And they're like, no, it's not as important as saving lives. I'm like, dude, most of the time we don't save lives.
The country was built on trucking.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting to. I'm like, dude, most of the time we don't save people. They die. Like, pretty often. It's not just a me thing. It's a every over and all thing. It's just the chances of survival after a cardiac arrest are very slim. Yep. But I'm like, if you don't do your job properly, the parts that I've ordered for my business don't come in on time, And now my livelihood is at stake for my family, for my home, for my business, for my passion, because
And your customers.
And your customers
aren't getting what they're needing to
100%.
survive for their business or their individual needs.
100%. So your job's more important than you think. It's just not as thanked. And I think that we should be thanking a lot of people, like, especially like truck drivers, UPS, FedEx, like those guys, like they're making your life so much easier because you don't have to go out to the store anymore.
Well, think of the increased workload that they've had. I mean, I'm sure they're expanding their fleets, but like when I was a kid, we'd order like something online from UPS or FedEx like twice a year, maybe five times a year. We do that in a week at my house. There's always a package sitting on our front porch. So like they're working harder. They got bigger routes. I'm sure there's a lot more people working for UPS or FedEx or Amazon or whatever, but they're doing more. I got one.
You got one?
They're doing more.
A ton more. I wonder what the percentage is.
And they definitely make my life easy.
Dude, it's my challenge. Here's what my challenge is. My challenge is to, when you go out today, or whenever you listen to this or at some point, talk to somebody, find out what they do, and then explain to them why their job is so important. For one, what that does for you, it helps you put yourself in someone else's shoes and think about, okay, I'm not the only person in this world. I'm not the one that's important. For one, God's important. But also the other people in this world, like you could go up to somebody, let's say they have a different political view. If you can sit there and explain to them what they do is important, for one, that will increase their confidence. And they're going to also be put in a better mood. So that way they might pay it forward to somebody else. And they may, you never know. They might go up to somebody and talk to them. And that dude was just thinking about killing himself.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I always think about it. Like, dude, what if this guy's want to kill himself? And all he needs is someone to just let him know that he's important, or he's heard and understood. Dude, male suicide is insanely high.
Yeah.
And that's something that's never really talked about. It's never discussed. But why is it not discussed? It's because, like, well, you got to be a man.
Right.
You shut up. Eat your emotions. Don't talk about it. It's like, I mean, you should talk about it. That's the reason why, like, that group is super important. The True Gentlemen's Group is super important, because you start getting guys involved in it. Because, like, where else are you going to find a lot of like-minded men that aren't sitting there getting completely trashed at the bar, or wanting to go out and go to strip clubs and fill their mind with filth and things that don't matter, that are only monetary, that will only last so long, just to give you that quick feel good, other than meeting other guys and having conversations with them and discussions and increasing your knowledge base and your friendship. Like,
after those meetings, dude, I am like pumped. I'm super motivated. Like, I just feel so good because you're hearing so many similar perspectives, because we're all very like-minded. But these other people are able to dive into deeper parts of those perspectives, and like, it just opens my mind up so much more to, like, how to be a better person, how to be a better husband, better father, just a better man. Just kind of what you're talking about with, like, uplifting a stranger just in a random conversation. It's like, I mean, just something simple, and I know you do it too, but every time we're like at the store or something, they're like, hey, thanks for what you do. Thanks for your service, whatever. And well, both of us are like, I appreciate your support. Thank you for your support, whatever. Just something small, because I've had people where they'll come up and they'll thank you for your service, whatever. And then some of the other people that I'm with are like, I hate when people do. It's like, dude, they're excited to see you. Like, you're a public servant out in the public, and they're happy that you're around. Like, give them that satisfaction back.
Yes.
Just something small.
Even if you sit there and respond back with something like blowing it off, like, oh, thanks, appreciate it. But if you get excited and you go up and talk to them, their day is made.
Yeah.
And it's just so simple, because we're idiots. Like, they have no idea. The citizens have no clue how immature and dumb and childish we all are.
Yep.
Like, we're all kids. We're all kids that have just never grew up, but we got big boy jobs and we have a lot of responsibility. Now, if you're watching this, have full faith in your first responders, because
when it's time to work,
when it's time to work, it's work. But when it's not time to work and you're just there, dude, we're idiots.
Yeah.
Like, so
screwing around.
back to suicide real quick. So So the rate of suicide is highest in middle-aged white men. In 2021, men died by suicide 3.90 times more than women. On average, there's more than 132 suicides per day.
Wow.
White males account for 69.68% of suicide deaths in 2021.
Wow.
That is insanely
That's a
high.
lot of people.
It's insanely high. And almost 70% of men are killing themselves. And 60% of them, and just in your 20s, are lonely, have no friends, and are single. Yep. I'm not telling you to go out there and make friends with just anybody. You got to make friends with the right kind of people.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You have to surround yourself with, like,
those uplifting, positive people that we were just talking about.
Show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you your future. That was something that I've tried to live by.
Yeah.
I try not to be friends with people who are going to bring me down or who aren't living life in the way or morally correct way that I think they should. Because if I'm hanging out with guys that are constantly using and abusing other people, what am I going to end up doing? Using and abusing other people.
And I just don't want to make time for people like that.
I don't want to do that.
I would much rather have that close-knit couple of friends that I can count on than saying I have all these friends when really they're just like better than acquaintances.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, it's even
can't depend on them. They'll not necessarily use you, but for lack of a better term, use you for things like, so, oh, we're going to go out tonight. Oh yeah, I'll be there for that. Hey, do you want to come over and watch a movie? No. You know, maybe I'm having a rough day. Maybe I need someone to watch a movie with.
Hey man, getting kind of sad. Getting kind of sad just sitting there to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Dude, the kinds of friendships that when you call them on the phone, like Joe calls me, every couple of days, and he'll just be like, hey, just checking in on you. See what you're up to. I ain't got nothing to really say. I'm like, cool, man. Doing nothing.
Yeah.
Just that.
It's
like,
important stuff.
It goes a long way. Just like, if you think of somebody, just go ahead and send them a text. Let them know you're thinking about them, because especially if it's another guy, because obviously with the male suicide rate, with depression and loneliness, like I deal with it, not suicide, but like I deal with it only because I work, but
Right.
I deal with
the other side of suicide.
The other side of it, the loneliness, the depression. It's like I deal with the anxiety of that, and there's other things out there that help with that. Obviously, what else I do, but like I deal with it because I don't like being alone. There's times I like to be alone, but like I'd like to be with somebody, but I also don't want to just be with anybody.
Right.
Like I want to be able to be successful. I want to have that rock and that friendship and the relationship of my life that I can count on, and not somebody who wants me there out of their convenience because I'm just somebody to fill that place right now. And there's plenty of people out there that'll do that. Men and women will do that to you. So if that True Gentlemen's group sounds interesting to you, you can go on Facebook, just type in True Gentlemen. It's a picture of King Baldwin IV.
King Baldwin.
The dude's a beast. But it's a picture of him. Just follow the page. I'll accept you. As long as you're a guy. If you're a girl, I won't accept you. Because no girls allowed. Because no cooties. I don't want it. That's disgusting.
He-Man Woman Haters Club.
He-Man Woman Haters. What was the girls one called?
I don't remember.
Boys. Girls. Those are the Little Rascals. But that is extremely important. Dude, we had a guy in there that, he was a younger dude, late teens, early 20s. He's like, I don't have any kinds of friends that are like this. Mm-hmm. And we had business owners in there. We had a lot of business owners in there. We had guys who were the guy that Jason Godwise, the dude fought in the UFC and Bellator back in the day. We had
not only that, but he's like a high up type scientist. Like,
yeah,
he has like 4 different science type degrees and like master's degrees, I think, or maybe even like PhDs in these science fields.
The dude is insanely smart.
Yeah.
Education is his
super
thing.
Impressive. He's going on and on about all these things that he does. And I'm like, how?
And
how do you have that much brain space?
And the reason why he was going on and on about it, because we asked everybody to explain upon their portfolio. Tell me your portfolio and what you bring to the table. And that's something that's also important too, is like with your friends, it's like asking them, what can you bring to the table? Because if you're going to set yourself up for success in the future, you need to find out like, what do my friends bring to the table? What do I bring my friends to the table? Like, it's got to be an equal share. if you're giving all and not receiving anything back, you got to get out of there because that's a toxic friendship and relationship.
Yeah.
You have to be able to at least receive something from for me, all I ask from my friends is just please give me your time.
Yeah. Support.
An ear. Time. I want to be able to have that relationship where if I call you, you answer. Like if I need to talk to you, just reassure me that I just need that assurance that we're friends.
Right.
And it's not like, oh, we're friends and then walks away. It's like, hey man, how are you?
Right.
I'm doing good, bud. I appreciate it. It's all I needed. So like that was good. But that guy I talked about, he's like, I don't have anything like this. And this is awesome. I want to continue it. But obviously I took the last month off for everything. I had a lot of stuff going on. So like I ended up not doing anything last month with it. So this month I'm going to try to reamp it back up, try to grow it again. We'll close up here shortly.
I'm good. I got a half hour.
You got a half hour left? Oh, cool. So, but yes, so back to the immaturity part in the fire service. Yesterday, just an example, we're driving in the truck and we're sitting in the Rural King parking lot and I hear you giggling and laughing in the back. And I look around and I couldn't tell what you were doing, but then I find out you were making dog shadows. Let me look it over to you. You were making dog shadows.
Literally in the back of the rig doing this.
My dog came running in. Yeah. She's like, oh, is there another dog in here?
He's like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know, shadow puppets.
And then every time like stuff like that happens, I always think about like, man, if the citizens of where we live and work at just knew what we did, they would lose all faith in us. But it's like, dude, you got to have fun. Like you have to have fun. You have to have that decompression of all the stress and anxiety of what we do.
Yep.
Because like and this is how I'll explain it to people. So if you get upset about it and you're like, these guys are stupid and they're immature, let me explain this in the beginning. When you're 18 years old and you get the job, you fill out your death paperwork.
Yeah.
So it's very real.
How do you want to be buried? Where's all your documents? Do you want a firefighter's funeral? Do you want like the full garrison flag and all that sort of stuff?
Who are your pallbearers?
And who's going to carry your casket? You're 18 years old or 21 years old, or I was 29. Mm-hmm. Not really something I thought about until that paperwork hit my desk, and I was like, okay, this is important.
This is real.
So these little like goofy stuff that we do, it's like a decompression. It's just having fun in that little downtime that we get. Sometimes there's more downtime than other days, but just filling that time with fun because you're there for 24 hours, 12, whatever. But typically we're there for 24 hours. That's a lot of time. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of time to fill. And
that's when you get to know someone.
Yeah. And you're just sitting down, you're shooting the shit, you're having fun. Like we were literally sitting in a Rural King parking lot and the sun was shining in on my shoulder and I like moved my hand and I saw there's like a cabinet that's in front of me with a roll down door. And I like moved my hand and I saw that I got a shadow. And I'm like, that's it. We're doing shadow puppets, man. I know what I'm doing with my time.
This will pass the time by greatly. But that's just part of it, dude. That is just being able to relax and just chill out and have some fun while you're there. Because if you take the job too seriously, for one, you'll end up not having any friends because no one's going to want to be around you. If you just take it seriously all the time, there are times to take the job seriously.
Absolutely.
100%. But you need to find a way to get an outlet. And that's the reason why I tell guys, get hobbies. Like get a hobby that's fun. Find something that doesn't only benefit you, but benefits other people. It's so important because our jobs as public servants, and I say that term loosely because are we public servants? Yes and no. And the reason why I explain it I'll explain it like this. We cannot do everything and anything for the public.
Right.
I can't come there and I can't always shovel everyone's driveway. I'm not that type of public servant. It's like, well, there's also you have to do things for yourself too, but we're there to help you if you really need it. But if we show up and you can't start your lawnmower and we're driving by because we were just on another run and you can't start your lawnmower. Well, I know a little bit about small engines. Yeah. I'll stop and I will help you try to start your lawnmower. We ended up starting it right away after that lady. Yeah. She never primed it. That was the problem. Duh. You're telling me you didn't prime the engine? I had no idea what that would do. Mm-hmm.
But that's
It's just the small
little
things
little
of
things like
service.
that. Yeah. And then people don't know what they don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was listening to, I can't remember which podcast it was. I was listening to a podcast and the guy was talking about.
Was it more with Stumpo?
It was more with Stumpo, actually. Yeah. No, the guy was talking about how there was either like an officer on another shift, or maybe it was an officer on the same shift, maybe like a captain. I can't remember exactly, but this other officer was complaining like, all these new hires, none of them can start chainsaws. None of them know how to work on anything. Mm-hmm. Well, first off, teach them. Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to take time to complain about it. Take that time and teach them. But second, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. If you've lived in the city your whole life and never fall a tree, never ran a chainsaw even, how are you going to know how to work on it? How are you going to know if that blade's tight enough or the chain's tight enough? How are you going to know? Do you realize that small engine needs compression, spark, and fuel? Mm-hmm. You don't know what you don't know. So going back to her, she probably never mowed that lawn before. Someone else probably did it, and she was like, I got to get it done. They're not home. Whatever the situation
100%.
was. And she didn't even know that the thing had a primer on it. So like,
It's a teaching moment.
absolutely.
Use that.
She knows how to do it now.
Yeah, 100%. Well, hopefully.
I hope. But yeah, you got to have the willingness to learn on top of that. But
That's super important too. Like I'll have that discussion with anybody if they're willing to learn, and if they ask a stupid question, like I don't believe in no questions is like an unanswered question is a stupid question. Like I don't really fully believe in that, but like it's how you respond to it is what makes it important. If someone comes up to me, like I don't know if people know this or not, most fire trucks don't have keys.
yep,
Almost anybody can steal a fire truck.
it's pretty easy.
I should do a tutorial on how to do it and see how many people will steal. Nobody, I mean,
Typically, there's two switches.
yes.
You wait till the lights turn on, and then you push a button.
Yes. There's a battery switch, which is red usually. There's an ignition switch. Then you wait about 8 seconds.
Wait till it quits beeping at you.
Wait till it quits beeping, or when all the
Gauges
come back down.
Yeah.
Then you press start, and then
That's
drive,
it.
push in the air brake, and go. That's it.
Yeah.
And we leave them unlocked
Typically.
all the time.
Nope.
All the
It's
time.
always locked when we're in public.
Oh yeah, 100%. Always locked. That was not even. I don't even think it's a policy to lock the fire truck up. It's just like,
I've
but
never
no
seen
one
anything
messes
like
with
it.
them.
Yeah.
which blows my mind because I figured people would at least open compartment doors and start like
Yeah,
pulling your
rummaging
hat,
through.
pull your helmet out, put it on their head. Like we had some guys a long time ago. This is before I got hired at our department, that they got in trouble because everyone was up in the training room. This is back when they had nighttime training, and these girls were walking downtown Greenwood, and they saw that the bay door was up. It was an evening time. They'd been drinking, I guess, and they were wearing very scantily clad clothing. So they went up to the front of the truck, started taking pictures, like laying across it. And I don't know if they took someone's helmet and put on their heads, or someone's helmet was up at the window just sitting there.
Yeah.
And those pictures got posted, and then it made its rounds. And that officer, I believe, got wrote up for it. For something he had no control over. The bay door was up. They were up. Everybody was up in the training room, and these girls just decided to take pictures, and they got in trouble for it.
So I'm curious about that. Like, it's a public building, right? I mean, it's still
Yeah.
like our home, but it's still 100% a public building. Anyone can just come in.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like, not necessarily like breaking and entering, but you think there's any legalities behind like coming into the firehouse
I have
uninvited?
no idea. I have no idea.
Like, I get you can show up and that's no problem, or you can park your car there or whatever, use it as like a parking lot. I get that. But what about like actually coming in? And what if the door's open? Because that's kind of inviting. And we keep, typically during the warm seasons, we keep those bay doors open.
all day.
Yeah, until it's time for bed.
But the other thing too is like I think what comes down to is if you think about it like a public library, anybody's invited in the public library until you're not.
Sure. Yeah,
So
that's a good point.
if you come in, you can just kind of walk into the firehouse. I mean, we used to have kids all the time at the old 93s that would just walk into the bay, go up to the soda pop machine because it was 50 cents.
Mm-hmm.
They throw in 50 cents and they get soda pops and sit in the lawn chairs inside the bay, and put the fans on them and just sit there, just drink a soda pop.
That's innocent. They don't mean any harm.
Yeah, it's better than them going out and doing like small crimes.
Right.
Like it's better than them running around on the street. Yep. Like I'd rather have them come to the firehouse, like sit in the bay, like don't come inside,
Right.
Because you might hear or see some things that you don't want to, or that you shouldn't hear. Because like movies are on and stuff like that, and guys
it's still our home.
It's still our home. But
I get it's public, but it's the living quarters is our home. Like we live there.
Well, we had a lady one time that was at the trailer park. It started to storm really bad, and it was known that they would come in from the trailer park because if it was a bad storm, they did not want to be in their trailers.
Yeah.
So they'd come to the firehouse, and they started. We had probably 30 people inside the firehouse, and they started like going through our fridges, like pulling stuff out. Like one guy was getting a cup of milk.
Are you kidding me?
So I'm walking down. I'm new at this point. I'm like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, oh, we're getting some milk. We appreciate it. I'm like, no. I that's ours. Like, well, it's a public building. I'm like, public building, but not for
we
you. Like,
we
not
buy
for you.
all that stuff.
We
in the
buy that
fridge
stuff for us
with like my paycheck.
Yeah, with like my paycheck. And people were just taking our food. Like they were just eating it. So we had to tell them like, go back upstairs. You guys can't come down to the kitchen. Like it was wild. But they just thought since it's a public building, everything's free.
Right.
So there's that too. But like you're invited until you're not invited. So, I mean, I'll give the example. Like a buddy of mine, I invited over he wanted to make some content. So his content creator made a video that wasn't in line with what the department's public morals are. So they asked me if I've seen the video. They didn't tell me to take it down. They just said, hey, we just don't appreciate it. So then I hit him up and said, hey, they're not appreciative of this, blah, 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 blah. So he ended up taking the post down because he's like, oh, it was a joke. I was trying to have fun with it. My content creator made it, but I'll go ahead and take it down. It got like 120,000 views on it. Yeah. Like it was blowing up. It was doing pretty well. So he ended up taking it down and stuff, but he made a new post, and then I shared that post and tagged the fire department in it.
Did you? Good for you.
The new post was pretty good. And it looked cool because he brought his car out and put it in front of the fire truck, and it was cool. But
I'm actually surprised we didn't get any, backlash from that video of us of us pulling the rig out to his car, like on the front pad.
Well, I think it's in my opinion, I think it is very important to actually be involved in online content, respectable online content. Like we're not making OnlyFans here, but we're talking about like doing stuff, collaborating with people who are in the public's eye that aren't public servants or first responders. Like if there's somebody who has got a big following online, what would be a good buy-in for one, that person, but also the fire department and even police department too, to do a collaboration video with them.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to have him keep coming back to where tens of thousands of people are going to see our department and how we act. So what does that do for the guys that live somewhat in that area? They're like, I want to work for those guys.
Yeah. So I was just going to bring up, I think the department's called like South Metro, and I believe it's a suburb of Denver. But regardless, they have a huge YouTube page, and I've seen some of their videos on TikTok. So I'm assuming they're on TikTok, or maybe it got clipped by somebody and they put it on theirs. But regardless, they have a pretty large social media presence. And their academies, I mean, it's like an IFD academy. Like there's 40, 50 people, 60 people in these academies. And I doubt they're having 14 applicants. And 7 of which show up to the interviews when we need like 9 people.
All getting jobs.
Yeah. I mean, you're showing a level of like, hey, we have some fun. This is some things that we do. You're getting a better idea of like, a day in the life. Plus you're showing that involvement in the community. I think that's super important. I think because we are public figures, I think we need to be more involved in the community. And I really like going to like different, not just like the grocery store, but like went to Rural King the other day. We didn't get out, but typically we would, and go walk the store and talk to people and bullshit with the cashiers.
But it's also, it's
like
not.
We're the people you're going to see when
exactly
you're having an emergency. I want to make myself known to you prior
exactly
to that incident.
But it's also, not showing up looking like a stiff.
Right.
You want to look like what your public looks like.
Right.
So if I come walking up and I'm wearing a fully pristine uniform with shirt tucked in, everything's polished, looking good, is that going to make that person super comfortable to come up and talk to me in the area we live in? No, it's not. What's the area we normally like we live in? Middle to low poverty range, lower poverty range. So if I'm walking around like that, people are going to think that I'm above them. They're not going to want to come talk to me.
Right.
But if
Like
I
an
look more,
intimidation thing.
yeah, like I have more people now come up and talk to me because I'm tatted up.
Right.
Like I look more like them than most everybody else. And also it's like, I hope that I'm an approachable person because that's how I should be. I should be walking around the store. I should look more like, hey man, I'm relaxed too. I'm chill. Like just come talk to me. Like if I'm walking around with every time I'm walking around, my shirt's tucked in and all that kind of stuff. The only generation that cares about that is the generation that's currently dying right now.
Yeah.
That's it. It's the older generation. That's the only ones that care about it. Everyone else is like, dude, if you got your shirt tucked in, I think you're kind of a puss. Like you look like a pushover. Look the part of, don't come in with your pants sagging below your butt, but
Right.
like
look professional.
Still look
Don't
professional.
look like a slob,
yes.
but you don't have to have that, starched t-shirt and,
Yeah, come in looking like you're a normal person.
Yeah.
But also another thing that I like is showing up to any event. Like not being told to go to the event. I don't like that. But like showing up to those public events, like Freedom Springs, that adult night that they had.
Yeah.
We were heading back, dude. Like I wish we would have went a little bit earlier.
I know.
But that was showing up there.
I'm sure that was a party. I could smell the alcohol in the air.
Oh my gosh.
Like we're driving in and I get out of the rig and I'm like, it smells like booze.
Well, even when I was in Nashville, like when I was down in Nashville, I couldn't tell you how many times I saw the fire trucks driving around.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what they're doing. Like we know what they're doing.
Right.
They're looking for hot chicks. Like
Scoping out
just-
the territory here.
you're getting some
District familiarization.
100%. You're finding out like we need to know our clientele inside and out. Like we need to know what is happening on the streets. Like I get what they're doing, but like seeing the fire department's presence and police presence, like if dude, one cop was smoking a cigar just chilling. Like
yeah.
that was cool. People were walking up to him, fist bumping him, like build that relationship up. Quit being so like putting your thumb down on the guys. Let them relax. Like I was sitting there with these guys from Toronto and I'm like, dude, look at that cop. He's smoking a cigar. And then the guy turns to me, he's like, this is what America is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, back home, that wouldn't be able to happen because they're terrified of a guy smoking a cigar. That you can't do that. The public sees you as a dude. Chill out, man.
Public can't know you use tobacco.
They can't know that you're an average citizen. You're above them. No, we are not. We are the same as these people. But we have jobs that are pretty important. Yeah, but there's times to be super professional. There's times to just relax and have fun. Build that relationship up with the public. That was cool to see, but also seeing the fire department. But when we went over to the Freedom Springs when they had the adult night, dude, people were coming up to us and like making comments to us, like they thought it was cool that we showed up.
Yeah,
like they enjoyed it. Like they were taking pictures of the fire trucks. They were having a good night out, and all of a sudden now the firefighters show up. Like yeah, they want to go take pictures with the fire truck. We turn the lights on for them. Like dude, just have some fun, man. Let people just like engage with us. Try not to be a hermit or a crab and then just like hide every time there's people around. But there's other times too where it's like it's forced, like when the department forces you to go out and be in the public for hours.
Which
on end.
the what was it called? It was at Freedom Spring. Mud Day. Mud Day?
Yeah, Mud Day.
We were forced to go to that, but I still
I still had a
enjoyed
ton
that.
of fun.
It's literally, so for those that don't know what Mud Day is, so it's literally like a tilled up patch of grass. So it's a bunch of dirt, and we go out there with the fire engine and soak the dirt and make mud for everyone to go play in. And it sounds insane, but that's literally it. Like you just go and you play in the mud for 4 hours. And dude, I had a blast. I mean, I didn't get to play in the mud, but I got to spray all the mud and spray off the muddy kids at the end and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it was just cool being in the public, being with our customers in a positive setting. We weren't there on their worst day. We were there on one of their best days. We get to have fun with them. And I think that's just as important as showing up to a call or showing up to a fire or whatever that may be. Being there on those positive times and being seen in the stores, being seen just out, whatever, walking around. we don't have as much traffic, but like when I spent a couple shifts at the 92s, we'd sit on the front pad and every third car that would go by would be honking and waving and stuff. And it's like, again, you know, you're still at your house, but you're in the public's eye and you're making your presence known in a positive way. And I think that's important because same thing with like you and I, right? If you don't know me and all of a sudden I'm like, here's the things that we need to get done, you're going to be like, okay, whatever. Whereas if we have a rapport and I'm like, hey, these are the things we need to get done, you have a trust in me. Same thing I feel with the public is like, if I can get to know them a little bit more, they can get to know me a little bit more on a positive note. When it comes time for me to, you know, be a paramedic, be a firefighter, whatever that may be, there's a little bit more faith and a little bit more trust. We already have that level of trust just from showing up.
Yeah.
But I mean, think of the times where, I mean, you grew up here. So think of the times where you go on a run and you know the people there.
Yeah.
Think of that level of rapport.
Been quite a few, yeah.
Think of that level of rapport that you instantly have just from knowing them. And I think that's why we should be in the public eye a little bit more on good terms.
Yes.
Not
Like,
just on those bad times.
like even going around to businesses and just walking around the business, not even doing just, I mean, yes, go and get your pre-plan done.
Yeah, it's
get
like a
some ideas.
familiarization thing, not a we're going to fine you because you have this chair in front of the door.
Yes. I can't believe you have boxes stacked up all the way to a foot of the ceiling. It's like, hey man, take those boxes down, but like we're just here to get to know you guys and get to meet you guys, because there's been a couple times where like we've done pre-plans and like checked out these businesses and then all of a sudden we're there in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, like that
Dude,
foam place.
The foam place we went
Yeah.
to. We were out mowing one day, and then we're like, let's go stop inside, tell them we're, you know, see if we can get you a tour. And all we did, which is like, hey, we're local firemen. This is our district. And the guy's like, oh, cool, I'll get you guys some badges. You guys can
Wasn't
walk
it
around.
like at night too? Didn't we
It was-
show up
yes.
at like 8 o'clock at night and the dude's
Yes.
like standing out there smoking a cigar?
Yeah. Yeah, he was standing outside smoking. He's like, oh, yeah, I'll let you guys in. You guys can do what. They let us have free reign of the building. Like,
Yeah.
It was cool. And we were sitting there joking about like,
We
dude,
were in our civvies, like we just
Yeah.
got done mowing. We're in this like t-shirts and jeans, and we're like, yeah, we're fine. And he's like, oh yeah, go like tour yourself.
Yeah.
You're fine.
you know what you're looking for.
I was like, this is freaking wild. But
And it
then
was-
like what, a week later we got
Not
there
even
on
a week
alarm?
later. It was, I think it was 2 shifts later. So
Yeah.
just a couple days. We went back there on an alarm and it was the same guy. And we're like, dude, we were just here. He's like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's
Yeah.
like, go around and tour, like going to the schools. We went to the schools, like get in front of the eyes of the kids for one. Like if you have cops that are doing it, like my brother does the stuff at Center Grove.
Right.
He's got a great relationship with all the kids. Like they know him.
Yep.
Like, and then when they see me out, they think they know me.
Right.
And it's weird sometimes because they come up and start like saying things that I'm like, I don't know what you're talking
I don't
about.
know you.
I don't have any clue who you are. But having that relationship with those kids, it gives them a positive outlook on police and fire.
Yeah.
So like for us, I think it's important if we just show up at schools, not be mandated to go to schools, because you mandate a guys to go to schools, they're going to be in a bad mood because like, I got to be here for 5 hours, like 6 hours. Like, no thanks. That's a lot. But like,
Well, just when we
do
show
it on
up,
your own.
like when we went to the middle school not too long ago, and we were like, hey, we just haven't walked through this building in
Yeah.
a long time. We want to get to know where the appliances and you know, hazards
Yeah.
are located. And they're like, yeah.
I think
fun.
I think it's important to do it while kids are in school.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when you're because you walk down hallways, they think it's the coolest thing to see the fire department.
Yeah.
Like they think it's the coolest thing. So it's like give them for one that experience to see you guys. That way, if you go back on a run, they're like, oh, that was the guy that came here a couple of weeks ago, and I remember him. Like, oh, that's the guy with tattoos. That's the guy with the cool mustache. And then all of a sudden now, like kids are talking about it, and then maybe that might get them interested in being a firefighter. Maybe
Yeah.
it might get them interested in like, I need to think about what I want to do for a
Right.
living.
Recruit them young.
Recruit them while they're young. Go in there and like hand out job apps. Like when you're 18,
I'm 13.
when you're 18, you apply here at this department.
You
We'll
ever heard of the
take
cadets?
Get on that cadet program at the age of 14. Become a firefighter, kind of. But like, that's super important to do. And that's the reason why I think it's important. We need to get back into doing that again, because we did that for a few weeks. We would go to a business every shift and just get to know people while you're there. And then like another really important thing is try to involve other guys with it.
Yeah.
Your other firemen, like try to involve the guys on your crew with it. Because if you're showing up and you're just the only one wanting to do it, it's like, hey, this is the reason why it's important. Because when you go and ask for that raise, and the public, let's say for some reason they're doing a referendum and the public has to vote, they're more willing to vote if you have a reputation built with them and a camaraderie built with them. And I'm not saying do this only for that reason, but there are benefits with getting to know, and it's very helpful. And when you're doing anything else and you're walking around not like talking to people and telling them what's going on, they're like, oh, well, I've already met this guy a few times. He's an honest dude. He's a good guy. Like he's genuinely wanting the best for everybody, but they have issues going on and they need to get them fixed. So they need some change. That's important. It's very important.
Yeah.
But alas, there are those guys that just don't want to do anything. They're just in it for
There
themselves.
will be. I've talked about it
You've
before.
talked about that before.
The rule of the thirds, or the 33% rule, where there's a third of the people that show up, collect their check, go home. There's that middle third that have some enthusiasm about what they do, but they're not really going out of their way. They're attending the mandatory classes. They're attending the, the details that they're supposed to go on, and they're not really complaining about it. But and then again, go home, collect their check, call it a day. And then there's the top third that are going out of their way to learn more, going out of their way to teach others, so on and so forth. You're not going to convert 66%. You're not going to convert 2/3 into the top 1/3. But you can get one at a time. You can slowly convert people. That's like a huge, not a mindset, but just a way to think about things. Like, yeah, you're not going to control the masses, but if you can get one person involved, that person can get one person involved. Now those two people might get 4 people involved, and now your group is growing that care and give a shit and are able to give back the same way that things have been given to them.
I think it's super important. I think it's a way to increase the relationship with what you have with your crew, but also with your department too, like your higher ups, that they're going to see that, oh, these guys are taking initiative.
Yeah.
And they're actually going out and doing things. That way, when something comes around, hopefully they reach out to you and be like, hey, we have this coming out. Like, I think we still need to be doing that open house.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great idea to do the open house for our station, because there's not been one to the public.
Right.
I think it would be kind of cool to do that. But
Well, not only your higher ups seeing you and they're like, oh, they're taking initiative. Like, you've talked about this before, but like, you build that not camaraderie, that reputation that you're willing to just go all out, and you know what you're doing, going all out. You're in first due to a fire. You go out, swap bottles, and you go to the battalion. You're like, hey, we're ready, and they're like, all right, immediate assignment instead of rehab. We'll get another crew in there. They're like, no, we want you in there.
That's the reputation you want to build.
Yeah.
Dude, I've heard that a few times with like being on fires. Like, I had one battalion say, like, I'm really glad that you and so were here.
Yeah.
Because I can count on you guys to keep going back in. That should tell you the state of, for one, the shift.
Right.
But also it's like, hey, just take care of yourself. Like, go to the gym, work out. By no means am I in the most perfect shape in the world, but like, I do continue to work on myself, and so do other guys too.
Yeah.
But you want to build that reputation of, you can do this. Like, what I want is for someone in the public, when they see me walking in, I want them to know when they look at me, like, that dude can pull me out.
Yep.
That dude can take care of me. That's what I want them to know. It's like, have that physical reassurance that I can do the job. Now, if I come in and I'm, I don't know, severely overweight, I got a belly hanging below my belt, and it's like, can he pull me out? Then there's going to be those guys who's like, I could work circles around you. I don't care. At least look the part. At least look like you can work circles around me, and take care of yourself. Like, have some discipline. Like, that's so important, for one, not only just for your body, but also for your mental health too. It's so important to have the discipline.
How about when this extremely physically and mentally taxing career is over? Now you're still fat and out of shape. What's your quality of life after retirement going to be like? Like, take care of yourself for the long term.
The average life expectancy of a firefighter after retirement is, I think, 15 years.
Is it really? After retirement?
After retirement.
That's a long time. I'd be happy with 15.
I wouldn't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd be happy with more. Don't get me wrong.
I think you'd be happier with a little bit more than that. But
But
it's
hell,
like,
like 70, that's a long damn life.
yeah, but 70 people aren't living to 70. They're living past that. They're living
I
past,
know.
80 and 90. Like, I'd
get
rather
it.
have a longer life.
I mean, you think of all the shit that's fighting against us already.
Yeah.
I mean, they just came out with a study that says our bunker gear alone gives us cancer, let alone the things on the bunker gear.
We shouldn't be wearing it. Take it off.
I
Don't wear
don't
it.
know. I kind of like it, especially when it gets really hot.
Well, you've never worked in a factory, have you, boy?
Yeah, right. You're right.
Dude,
We
we had
did
a-
work in a factory.
We had a patient tell us that. He's like, we were like, oh, it's a hot one out. He's like, well, you boys never worked in a factory.
You
And
don't
we're like,
know hot.
you don't know hot until you worked in a factory. It's like, I think we know
Yeah.
what heat feels like.
I've seen hot a time or two.
Yeah, it may not happen often, but when it does, it's hot. It's
No,
real
sir. You don't understand hot.
hot. Oh, your factory was 400 plus degrees? I'm sorry. I didn't know that. And you still got to work? Okay. But
Well, then what cracked me up too is when we got outside, he was like, "Yeah, it is pretty hot out here."
yeah, thank you. Dude, we did that extrication training the other day. That was, for one, so much fun.
Yes,
it was
it
an
was.
awesome training. But dude, I had not sweat that much in a long time.
Yeah.
That was like being in a sauna, wearing fire gear, and working.
I had my EMS gloves underneath my extrication gloves. And then when I took the EMS gloves off, like ounces of sweat came out of my
yeah.
gloves. It was disgusting.
Dude.
My boots, I could hear, like,
The sloshing?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, like when you submerge your feet in water and you're like my boots were doing that. I was like, I sweated so
Sweated.
much.
It was insane, but it was a great training.
It really was.
It
I'm
was
excited for the
awesome.
future ones because he was talking about like having real, like bystanders
yeah.
and civilians nearby.
Yeah, I'm
That
excited
can like
for that.
they might be a patient. They might just interfere with your like. That'd
That's
be cool.
That's what really happens.
Yes.
People start coming up to you on like any type of scene, and they start talking to you, and you've got to take in so much information, plus somewhat figure out if you're going to take them seriously or not.
Yeah.
Like there might be some people that were just like, hey, I wasn't here, but like what, like, I saw this and this, like, doesn't really help. Or someone was like, I saw the whole thing. This is what happened. That guy flew that way. He's over there. It's like, oh, perfect. Thank you. Because it would take us a minute to get to that point of searching exterior areas of the scene.
Well,
because
like we had that motorcycle fatality on Worstville.
yeah,
That sedan versus motorcycle.
yep.
And the guy in the sedan was just like distraught because
Mm-hmm.
like he knew that guy was dead. Mm-hmm. And then plus he wrecked his car and all that. And then not only that, he had like a pissed off pit bull in the back
Yes,
seat.
that dog was intimidating.
It was terrifying.
It bit that cop.
I know.
That cop.
Well,
just
his dumbass got in the back seat with him.
yeah, he's just like, come here, puppy. And I was like,
But so that the driver of the sedan did not want to talk to me, didn't want to talk to
Mm-hmm.
anybody. There was a lady that was standing there, and I think she was just a bystander. I
Yeah,
don't think she
was.
knew him at all. And that was the only person that he would talk to until he like calmed down a little bit more, and I was able to get in the car, and then we worked on getting him out because we had to have an extrication response,
yes,
not a door pop.
yeah, yeah. That was my mistake. That was 100% me. But that's coming back down to okay, that person went through a traumatic experience, and not only him, people that witnessed it too. That's a traumatic experience, witnessing a death of somebody. But he only wanted to deal with somebody who he felt comfortable
Yeah.
to.
Well,
and
I'm sure that
somebody who
lady
can-
was first right there.
Yeah, but
So-
he also that lady could have reminded him of his mom.
Yeah.
So then he's like, I'll only talk to her. So then now you have to work with a person who has no. That's another thing too. Is I'll get through this point and then I'll bring up the next point. Is he wanted to only discuss anything with her. So now you have to bring in this woman who's got no experience in being a first responder or public safety to work with you on this scene that is still not fully secured because it's
Right.
never really fully secured. But like now you have more stressors, but for the patient to keep him calm and to keep him talking is so important to talk to this woman. And that was when we were on a run. We were just listening to another call. Some guy was doing paratrooping stuff down at Camp Atterbury and got stuck in a tree. First thought that came to my mind was, cool, call an arborist. Because he's up at the top of the tree. He's up in the foliage of the tree. Who does that stuff daily?
True. I
Who
wouldn't
does
have
it
thought of that.
daily? And then I was getting told, like, you can't do that. That's not fully safe. I'm like, our job's not fully safe, for one. That person is an arborist. He can do it every day. Well, he's not specifically trained in rescue. He takes down 400-pound
trained in
logs.
trees.
He's trained in trees and brings down 400-pound logs safely with ropes
Yeah.
and pulleys. I think that he could do it with a guy who probably weighs 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. Half the weight of the log. Now, the logs may be weighing more than that. But use that guy with the first responders on scene, because we're not doing this daily. Mm-hmm. He does it daily. Mm-hmm. That's where I'm like, utilize what you've got around you.
Pair in the rescue with the...
Pair him with them.
Yeah. With the knowledge of how to get this guy out of the top of a tree.
100%.
Because that ain't my expertise.
No. Even for the guys that do that type of stuff, like that high rope rescue,
Mm-hmm.
like I'm sure you're trained on that. I'm sure you've done it with some repetition. But is it second nature to you? Like that guy's first nature career is climbing trees and cutting trees down and knowing how it works. And like, hey, like when you, like I've spoken with arborists before, they're like, you can look at a tree and I can know that the best way to fell that tree is going to be going over to the left side. Or I see that tree is leaning, but also then again, there's some parts of the tree that are missing on the other side of it. So I'm gonna have to cut it the opposite way. Well, we may not know exactly how that tree will fall, so we can cause more damage.
Right.
And also, it can cut the scene time in half.
Right.
If you get somebody who knows that's doing it daily, and he can give you some advice. For example, this happened in another country, but this little kid, like I think he's like 2 or 3 years old, got stuck in a well. So the firefighters couldn't fit down because it was such a tight hole. The firefighters couldn't fit down. So what did they do? They went down to a last resort and they tied a kid's feet together and they had the kid go down head first and they just lowered him down to get this other person. Utilize what you have around you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not your first option. That is not your first option, but it is an option. Utilize what you have around you, because that is so important. If you can think outside the box, like that would not be my first option. I would be like, we need some skinny, small people first, like that are firemen.
I wouldn't even want that as my last option. That's a little scary.
It's very scary, but that's the only way that kid got rescued out of there. Yeah. The video's on YouTube. You can look it up. Like, it may not have been a well. It may have been like
stuck in a well.
It was a kid stuck in a well. Kid rescues kid. Kid rescues. I don't know what it would be called, but it happened in another country. But there's plenty of things that have happened like that. Even with the tornado that we had. Mm-hmm. It's past 10:30. I'll make this quick point and we'll be done. Even with the tornado we had, there was so many units that were already out and working. When we pulled up over into that neighborhood in Whiteland, we only had us.
Yeah. For a while, too. I was kind of shocked.
For a while. So
there was a lot of pieces of apparatus on that run string.
Yes.
And we were alone for a minute.
We were alone for a very long time.
Ian and I searched 3 houses before the next unit arrived.
I thought it was just Ian.
Yeah. Yeah, my bad. Sorry.
It wasn't you. But
Ian searched those 3 houses before the next unit arrived.
Well, you guys pulled that lady out too, which was cool.
Ian did, yeah.
Yeah, Ian did it by himself. You had nothing to do with it, right?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. You were at home.
Yep.
You were off that day. I forgot about that.
Actually, I said, man, I'm not going to go on this run. I'm just going to go back to bed.
I'm not coming. But like, I utilized guys that just came up to me and were like, hey, what can I do to help?
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I know that I don't have any of.
Well, you were herding cats.
Like, yeah.
Everyone in the neighborhood was out. Like, is Timmy okay? Is John fine? Like, you guys, everyone who's okay, like, go there.
Yes.
Everyone who's not okay, just yell and be like, I'm not okay.
I came up with a quick collection point, which was the other fire truck that finally pulled up.
Yeah.
I said, everybody that's okay, go. Oh, it was someone's house. I said, go to that house right there. And then they're like, all right. So then all of a sudden the herd of people start like waddling over that way. And then I had like other guys come up to me like, what can I do to help? I'm like, you comfortable like with searching someone's house real quick? Now, I didn't send them into the houses that were, completely destroyed from this tornado. But like, I'm like, you go check these 5 houses and then come back to me and tell me what you find. And then when you talk to the people, find out if anyone's hurt, find out if they need anything. How many
people were there?
How many people are in there now? And you come back to me. And then I was like, you two go down the street and start working your way back this way. Like it cut out so much time. Mm-hmm. And we were able to find out if anybody was truly injured. And the only true injuries that we really had were the people that were affected directly in that area that we were in.
Yeah.
And they were already being taken care of. So, but yeah, just thinking outside the box. So we'll go ahead and close it up, man. We've been going for an hour and 50 some minutes. So perfect time.
10:30.
10:30. Yeah. So Greg, man, I've enjoyed this conversation with you, man. Hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, man, we will. No, you've had other people on twice.
Yeah. Damn. I know.
I'll go for a third.
You'll
I'll
be
be the first.
You'll be the first third. Perfect. All right, man. Thanks.
See you, bud.